Okay, we have everybody. All right, we're back in from our executive session, and there was no action taken. And I think, Mr. Wheeler, you have an additional item?
Yes, Mayor. Request consideration that a motion be made to authorize and direct the mayor to submit a grant application in the amount of $1.5 million to support property acquisition.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you. We'll get that out.
Thank you. Yes, sir. All right, so we're moving to our budget session, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Veach.
During the original budget, we said that we would offer AIM to come in and speak on dues and publications in the general fund. And the list of those are on page 6. Adam, would you like to speak on behalf of Ashland motion?
Yes.
Okay.
On behalf of Ashland Motion, just want to say thank you all for having us here. Let me talk. Currently, right now, in our current budget we have, we are set up to go through towards the first two First Fridays of this year, the May and June one. So we kind of got it backed up after we missed receiving funding a couple of years ago. And so I was here to request $70,000 make up for that year, for this current year, in order to continue providing events for downtown Ashland.
They, the contribution is normally $35,000. Ashland, Visit AKY was going to do the events, but their board voted for them not to participate. And AIM is going to take over the events. So I would suggest to put this money in contingency to allow you all time to give us a project budget on which events you're going to do, to show where the money's being spent.
Yeah, so that's the problem that we've got. We don't have any idea of where the money goes. You know, no budget, no explanation, you know, that's what we need.
Good.
If you can get that to us before our next commission meeting, we can give it to the board for consideration.
And where would you like that dropped off for staff?
If you can send everything to me, and if you have any questions, feel free to call me, and we'll work through. And that's what I did with Celeste, to come up with what events are going to be done and the approximate cost of each.
Okay, awesome, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, pretty, I mean,
Yes,
it doesn't need to be elaborate, just an explanation where it goes.
Where the money goes and what it's being spent on, exactly.
Yes,
yeah.
right.
So it seems like a fair ask.
Yes.
I think, yeah, it's fair.
So when we do the budget ordinance, we'll have that money in contingency, and then you all can make the consideration of, you know, how much you want to give.
Well, with that being said, can we visit AKY or visit AKY and look at their proposal? So,
Her proposal, as far as I knew, was to provide the events, and if she had any special events, she was going to come to you all.
And we can take those on the individual circumstances
Yes.
and, you know.
The December proposal that I submitted was for things like Infinity Con, like events that we had last week, any kind of conference or convention, that's kind of what that was broken down into. We had a prior, agreement that AIM would subcontract Visit Ashland to do the events. The board voted on us being able to go strictly into just tourism, especially since what happened last week was so amazingly great, and knowing that we're able to go out and sell that to the rest of the world and bring them in and bring everybody else's knowledge in. That's the long and the short of why.
Can you also submit to the board any special events that you want to do? I know you do not have the payroll costs now since you're not doing this event. So what you gave me at the $120,000 has obviously changed.
Right, 100%. And I do have much of that up one's a loser, this one won't be with me anymore. So, you know, there's only two of us going to be in the office now, which that also kind of ties up what we can and can't do to make sure that we're able to get out and do what's needed and go to our marketing colleges and trade shows. So I'll submit and go ahead and readjust based upon what we're looking at now and submit that. I can do that
Okay.
by tomorrow.
Who's on the board of Ashland Motion?
Currently, it is me, Amanda Clark, Ashley Lehman, Jeremy Sutherfield, and David Turner.
Let me ask you this. Historically, we've given Ashland a motion, what, every year?
35,000.
Have we not voted to give them 35,000 the previous year? Was it not okayed?
It was okay. They've received half of their allocation right now. I don't think they've made any requests for their allocation.
So if we okayed the 35,
You have okay
We're on the-
35, but we have no information what they're doing with the
but
35.
it was voted in last year.
Yes,
Okay.
but when you all vote in the contributions, the agency sends us a letter and saying that they want their contribution.
Okay, so they're still out 17,500 roughly,
Yes,
About
something
that
like
half.
that?
Yes.
If we're looking at right at half or something. Okay. And for them to request that, they would just need to submit a
yes, to submit a request
request for, to us.
and, you know, something to show us what they've spent this money on.
If that's the case, then would you wouldn't need the $35,000 from previous year, correct?
That's currently, we're still paying off things from that previous year. So currently, that's what we were hoping for. That's what I was considered to ask for.
So that previous year, is that for calendar year 2025?
Yes.
No,
No, that just meant that they previously, they got 35,000 in previous years.
it was 22 or 23, I think you didn't get the money. I haven't looked at that
It was
one.
23, full disclosure, it's not a year that I was actually here, so.
Okay.
And the events that you're still, or the things you're still paying off, I mean, we have no information whatsoever what you all have ever spent the money on.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
something itemized essentially, of like
Yeah.
where this went and how this.
Yes.
Which I personally do. I mean, that's something that I'm.
And what the remaining monies are gonna be used for?
Okay, currently remaining in the account is $7,795.44, with $5,000 was given to us by Fidelity to be allocated to America 250.
Yeah. And I think there's a request from Visit Ashland to purchase some stuff
Yeah.
at this
Yeah,
point.
we talked about it this morning, being able
Yeah.
to give it to me so we can go ahead and order the sand and the materials for
Yeah.
Elias to get started. So,
Yeah, I don't think anybody on this board wants to see any downtown event eliminated.
Oh, yeah.
Or
We wanna see it go
not to happen.
forward.
We want to see it go forward and continue to grow, because they're successful events that brings thousands of people to our town. It's something that, we still want to support and make that happen.
So yeah, I want to be as cooperative as possible on my end to make sure they happen too.
Well, I'd encourage you, moving forward, to have presentation here at the meetings.
Okay,
or
awesome.
Commission meetings, and you don't have to come to every one, but if you maybe come once a quarter and give us an update of what's going on, so we'll know.
Just know, here's where things are going, here's where they're heading, here's where we're at. Okay.
Some accountability.
Absolutely.
Entirely, yes, sir.
Very good. Excellent.
Celeste,
And
who's
we-
on your board?
so Amanda Clark, Jeremy Sutherland, Vicki Rainey, Vicki was here with me earlier, she was. Catherine Yant from Foundation of the Tri-State. Lee Lathrop from Van Hansburg, and Kara Shockley from the hotel. We have another member that's Joe Abden, who is restaurants, but he's not been there in months, so we try to get back out to him. So we do have a spot here, for restaurant, but, that's, that's 6 of it.
Who did you say?
Can you repeat it for
Oh,
the
I'm
clerk?
so sorry. Who did you say for restaurants?
We
Joe.
don't, yeah, we had Joe Abden, who we had come back in December, and he hasn't been back since. So I'm not sure,
He was representing hotels and motels,
Yeah.
oh, he wasn't representing?
because he replaced Whitney Lowe and Michael Miller and Sergio Garcia.
Sergio was he restaurant?
Well, they're
I
all,
thought he was doing
Yeah.
Michael Miller.
because if you don't have a hotel motel association or a restaurant association, that's why they're all just kind of dispersed. And you'll see everybody's name on here and what they represent.
Okay.
So what we just gave you, and Susan was very good to get this ready for us. This is, I believe after the last budget session where we discussed this, this is the ordinance from 2019, where it was established, the statutes behind it, and then the information that we have on the history of the members as appointed since then. That way you can review it and.
I definitely think if there's possibility, we should have a commissioner or mayor representative on there.
I know that there is a KRS statute where there's certain things that we do have to have. So like Kara represents hotels, and she's the sales director of the Delta. And I thought we needed the restaurant piece. That's not it.
So right now, just to kind of outline what we've got representing Ashland Hotels and Motels is Lee Lathrow, and her term is from March 14th, 2024 to March 13th, 2027. We've got Jeremy Sutherland representing Ashland Hotels and Motels. His term shows August 27, 2023 through August 26, 2026. We've got Joe Abden fulfilling an unexpired term from Michael Miller that expires on August 26, 2026, representing Ashland Hotels and Motels. We've got Catherine Lamp. She is representing Ashland Restaurants, August 27th, 2024, expiring August 26, 2027. Amanda Clark, representing Ashland Alliance / Chamber of Commerce.
She's 2027.
Well, she's 20,
Most up to date or not.
8/26 of 2027.
8/26, 2027, okay. Kara Hedrick, she is an at-large representative. Her term expires August 26.
She's expired,
She-
and so is Vicky Ray.
She's expired, and then Vicky Ramey is also at-large, and she is expired.
There's only allowed to be 2 at-large, which is not a resident of Ashland, I think is how it is. So that's why, even though Kara Hedrick is hotel, that's why she has to go over to the at-large, because she doesn't live in Ashland.
And then the statute behind it gives you the parameters of where the appointees can go.
Okay.
Thank you for this, guys. I honestly thought that Kara was representing the hotels and like this was, that was the thought that I had, and that Joe was the representative for restaurants. So I really appreciate this breakdown, 100%.
So you need to see what I
They
got
need
in
new
there.
members on the board.
You've got 2 at-large members that we show having expired terms.
Okay.
And I,
Vicky Ramey and who?
Kara Hedrick.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get that list that I've got in here. We also have representatives from Summer Motion that are here.
Representatives,
Yeah, they're a dynamic duo now.
If you go over to the ARPA fund, this is where those dues and
What page?
contributions. I'm
14.
Flipping 14. We had proposed to give Pug Landing Days 45,000, and Summer Motion 70,000. It is in the ARPA fund because we were doing it out of our ARPA interest income. And the 70,000 is an increase from their usual contribution, but they're gonna do some additional, things with America 250.
It's an increase, right?
It is an increase, yes.
Is that number what y'all are looking for?
There you go.
Taught her well.
So,
I don't think there's any doubt we're gonna do that.
No, we're gonna do it.
yeah.
You guys
Thank
got
you for all y'all do.
So
a
we're,
lot of work ahead of you.
we're good on all these,
Yes.
yeah.
It's gonna be a while before we finalize the budget, so you
But
don't need
it'll,
to hang
actually, it'll
around.
be in the next budget anyway, so it'd be like getting the check July 1st or
We
June
always,
30th.
we always make sure they have it July 1.
Yeah,
We're best friends on my
we
birthday.
are, we are, I am.
Yeah, somebody's here, all this at the city building that. All right. Very good, thank you guys.
You don't need to hang around.
All right, go ahead with
We
your-
last ended with the, before we
Thanks for
started,
coming, guys.
Thank you.
the Ashland bus system, on page 23. Robin's going to go over the Ashland bus system for us.
Ashland bus system accounts for the city's transportation system,
23.
which is federally subsidized by the Federal Transit Administration.
Give him a second to flip there.
Revenues are budgeted at 1.7 million, with the general fund funding 683,000. Expenses, 1.7 million. Budgeted are salaries and benefits for 1.3 million. Operating expenses at 352,000. We're expecting to receive $990,000 in grants.
That ridership income, is that increased?
Ridership increased from fiscal year '24 by 16%, and miles driven by 24%.
And then we're gonna try to do some more marketing and stuff for the bus app and the, all that.
We market it now, I think that's what's attributed.
Maybe we
to some of
can
the
track and
increase.
see how, if that is working, or if that works,
Yes.
We do that, yes.
even paratransit.
Yes.
Erica's done a lot of in-house marketing for us. Some finance team members have done some marketing, and we're getting ready to do a marketing campaign on the bus app. And we're working on a paratransit app. We're doing a marketing campaign, will be done on it. And an informational thing has even been sent in utility bills on paratransit to show our citizens that we do offer that service. Because I think that is, not everyone understand that the city offers that
Well,
service.
I think we have all these great programs and great services. We just, I don't think we're as good as we could be by getting that word out there, and that's telling city manager and Shell to, let's do some marketing in other places, than besides Facebook and that kind of stuff, so.
With the bus system, we have strong customers and uses of it, and we are in constant contact with them.
Yeah.
When we had the bus app, we were like making phone calls to the directors of these agencies that are our larger users of the bus system.
Can somebody touch on the unrestricted fund balance, the negative 2.9 million?
The negative 2.4 million has to do with the state unfunded pension. The accounting standards for that is an enterprise fund, which is like a business top fund, that we have to put our portion of the CRS debt on our books. That's why it's a negative fund balance.
So we're not obligated
We are
to
not
budget
obligated
it
for it, no.
for payment.
Yeah, I just want to point that out, since it was.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
If you turn to page 24, this is the city's recreation operating fund, which accounts for the city's park systems. Revenues are budgeted at 1.7 million, with 1.649 million being transferred from the general fund. Expenses expenses at Central Park is $1 million. Dawson Pool, $229,000. Sports Park, $183,000. And other recreation areas, $252,000. With salaries and benefits being $1 million. Operating expenses, $578,000. And capital outlay for $51,000. This is for new truck to replace a vehicle that was totaled last year.
Sean, I was gonna ask you on that, is your department, is Parks and Cemetery, are they up to speed with the vehicles and equipment that they need?
We're probably a vehicle or two short, but we're living along, we're okay. Like, just doing this will help us tremendously.
Okay.
Thank you very much for asking.
Definitely.
I'd also point out the same situation applies to this negative fund balance. Is because of the
And it is the reason we show it as a negative is we have a fund, a separate fund from
Yes,
the
it is.
general fund.
We do.
But I mean, this is basically a general fund expense.
It is.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, it's an accounting deal.
Yes, and it has to be accounted there because we do have the revenues and the sales in Dawson Pool.
I mean, we don't expect it ever to make
No.
money
no.
or be on a
This is
positive side.
This is a contribution by the board to the citizens to provide parks and recreation.
Right, right.
Are we still utilizing the prisoners for grass cutting at the cemetery?
There's a problem with that.
It's been very helpful and very appreciative of it. When we got this early in the season, we're able to take care of it.
Okay.
And as we get into some of those moments where we have like summer motion, some of the bigger events going on, it's hard for us to get the staff, so we may ask for some assistance, from time to time from them, because that is gonna be helping us. But at this point, we're okay.
Okay.
Well, I spoke with Jailer Hensley yesterday. They are have been cut quite a bit of employees.
Gotcha.
So at first, they weren't going to be able to do the cemetery this year. Now he feels, and pretty sure that he can provide all the services that we need.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I was just curious.
And we also, at least I raised the issue of incorporating the cemetery back into the park system. Is that a legitimate consideration?
Are you talking about the boards?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the whole thing,
Yeah.
the financing, I mean, it was under the park system and it was pulled out.
It's under the park system as far as the department. It's the Department of Parks and that's never changed.
Accounting wise, no.
It's always been separate.
And it has to be separate.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
right.
But structurally, who's over it and stuff like that, it is under.
Under the park
services
system.
In the park system,
Okay.
yes.
And
Good.
something we're looking at seeking in the recreation fund is a grant to see if we can get some money to provide lighting at AK Steel. We are looking, we're doing just some preliminary research on that. And hopefully we'll have some better information to bring back to you in a couple months.
Okay, thank you.
If you turn to page 25, this is the Ashland Cemetery Fund, which accounts for the Ashland City Cemetery. Revenues are budgeted at $191,000, expenses at $249,000, salaries and benefits $183,000, operating expenses $66,000.
We've advertised the cemetery.
Yes, if you look into the lobby right now, she has information, she's done it on Facebook, and we've looked at other avenues also to do that. So we're,
And I know we've talked about expansion, it's been mentioned about expansion.
Well, it's on the property that we own. It's
Yes.
just opening
Yeah.
up sections that are owned by the city that are over by the mausoleum.
Are we
yeah.
moving forward with that?
Yes.
we have, and we've done it all with our own city staff, and it just keeps a greater inventory for the cemetery staff to show.
Okay.
I'll say 2 years ago, the deficit was $300,000.
Yes,
They buried 300 people over a year, so we lost $1,000 on each burial. Now we've cut it down to we're losing 58.
because we
remarkable.
raised the rates that we
Yeah.
should have
Yeah.
raised a long time ago.
Yeah.
What
At
is,
least they're
it
comparable.
looks like we got $1 million in unrestricted fund balance. What's that?
It is the inventory.
Oh, the graves, unsold graves.
We actually, at audit time, we count how many we have unsold, and we put a value on the grave depending on where it is. We also count how many we have unsold in the mausoleum, put a value on it, and that's put on our books at June 30th.
Asset.
Okay, good deal.
Here's, going back to the boards, I'll give you all a copy. This is what I have, trying to work from. I told you we're trying to straighten out all the boards.
Oh, the existing
Yes.
appointments.
So the departments have to be separate accounting, but can we combine the cemetery and park board or not?
We can combine the boards.
Yes.
Yes.
Combine the board?
Yeah, it's the Department of Parks, Recreation, and
Okay.
Cemetery.
And I checked with Sean, and Sean was fine with that.
Okay.
The parking garage fund, that accounts for the parking garage located at 17th and Carter. There's no budgeted revenues this year. Expenses, $124,000. Salaries and benefits, $67,000. Operating expenses, $56,000. And of those operating expenses, 83% of it is the maintenance on the elevator, utilities, and insurance. So it's operating at bare, but it's not making any money.
On the elevator, have we got it really up to date? I mean, do we know? Okay.
Yeah, it's required by law to have it up to date.
We
And
need
be certified.
inspections, but it's not been remodeled in what,
It's not
25
been
years?
totally redone?
Oh, no.
That will cost you all hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's,
Is
probably
it,
have a quote.
is it analog or is not, is it,
It's mechanical, yeah, it's, the elevators are, that we're running into, and they're going down.
Did we get the people that were stuck in it the other
Yes,
day
sir.
out?
Yes, sir.
Are they still over there?
It is 7 call-outs to the maintenance company that comes in, and those can be rather expensive. And the after-hours that Mr. Mark is referring to, those are emergency call-outs. So we are having significant issues with both elevators. They are getting maintained and they are getting fixed. However, they're not made anymore. Again, they're analog.
well, maybe next year we look at redoing them and see what kind of, at least we can get a price on it.
Is there a grant or something?
See what we're up against.
no grants that I'm aware of for elevators.
Elevator grant?
I'm going to ask a real silly question, but this is what I understand it to be. Those bank employees who rent spaces in that parking garage, the revenue goes to the bank. Is that correct?
I think the bank provides it for their employees, but the people that rent from the bank office suites, that the parking is included in their rental agreement, the bank still keeps it, yes.
Well, that's
And they
the fir-
keep
That's
it-
just the first floor, right?
No.
No, it's like the
No,
first
it's
floor.
anybody in the bank
They
building.
have like 70s.
Yeah. So, and it is, they keep the money through the life of the lease that they have with the particular people in the bank. So if their lease is 10 years, they keep the money for 10 years.
Can we advertise those spots?
Yeah, we have, they're free.
I don't
can
think
we-
we've
no.
rented a space since we've had it, have we?
Can we advertise those or offer those to people?
Well, we were gonna put a banner up that said
Banner, yeah.
free parking, you know.
That was my understanding, that is my note, that it, I
Yeah,
mean, that
yeah.
we still want free parking to encourage
Yeah.
people to come downtown and not have to.
Well, it helps alleviate the problems of the two-hour
Sure.
parking.
Yeah.
So could we find out if those, you go first, second, third floor, whatever, those spots are reserved? Can we find out if those individuals are still
Oh, it's
reserving
in the
those?
contract that the bank gets to pick what spots they reserve. We
Maybe
can't
what
even-
we ought to do is get a list from them of the current
Tenants.
spaces that
Yeah.
are rented.
Okay.
Because at one time, that restaurant was gonna, you know, their workers were gonna rent some
chimney
of
corner?
the, no, it was Sal's at one. when it was
Well, I mean,
going.
the building, the chimney corner building.
Yeah, they were gonna rent spaces over there. But now, that's kinda on hold right now, but the new restaurant,
Well, since the parking's free, why would they rent?
well, I mean, yeah,
To reserve a spot.
Right.
to reserve a spot.
And we have significantly reduced the operating expenses of the garage. We used to have 2 full-time workers over there.
But they were busy.
You got one now, right?
It's even,
The bathroom.
Sean, are they working there part-time, I think? or-
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we'll
And the
cut down, I
stairwells.
think, even from that, and now we're just doing patrols with the groups that's working downtown, just to take a look, clean the bathrooms, those things.
Yeah.
So if we don't have anybody over all the time, why do we have $67,000 in salary?
It's salary for the person that working over there part-time, that's what they budgeted.
Okay.
Well, if it's part, should we not split that salary?
We actually account for it
In other places.
in other places. We
Yeah.
actually account for it where they actually work.
Oh,
So they
okay,
put on their
so I see
time
what you're
sheet
saying.
when they
Okay.
work where.
Are they park employees or street employees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Page 27.
Page 27 is the Ashland Conference Center. It has revenues of $660,000. That is revenue on the CDs that we have for the bond issue and the state entitlement. The conference center is 3.7. That's in addition to the 25 budgeted in the conference center grant fund. Unrestricted fund balance is 9.6 million. That's your bond issue. We're gonna have debt payments of 516,375 when we get the center up and running. Capital outlay is 3.2 million.
What are we earning in interest income off the money that's on deposit?
It's been anywhere from 3.7 to 5%. It was 5% when we first did it. The banks kept it that way, but when interest rates decreased, we still have one at 4.75, and then we have one, I think, is at 3.75.
What is the number in terms of actual income?
Income, I project to be close to $1 million.
And this
that
from
on
here
all?
is just to account for the construction, correct?
On all of the deposits relating to the conference center?
Yes. And that was included in the capital stack when we figured out the $35 million expense to build it. This year is just for construction. That's one reason we want to get our reserves up and running is we're worried about once it opens, the actual operational cost. So in our long-term planning, that operational cost will take money from our general fund because in the first 3 years, they said it definitely would be a loss. So we're planning for our general fund to have to fund this. So that's always in the back of our minds when we did the budget and planned the budget and we're planning our finances. We get over to the Paramount Arts Center. This is our first year. It's the next fund on page 28. This is, you all are contributing $350,000 towards operations in this fiscal year. It has revenues projected at 3.485 million, expenses of 3.485 million, with a general fund transfer of 324,000.
Will we have, will our audit firm have access to audit these numbers?
They need to.
This is something that we need to probably talk about here. Carry on. I think they are wanting to do their own accounting work, possibly.
It's in the contract for them to do their own accounting work. We pay the revenues, we pay the insurance.
That makes me a little uncomfortable.
Well, I like the old saying, trust but verify.
Well, that's, yes.
I would agree to that.
I've talked to both Tony and Andrew about working out something where we can verify the income and expenses.
I think that's a must.
Yes, I do also. So we purchased this, because like some of their expenses, and I'll give this to you, this is what HR Cook provided, excuse finances, little notes and scribbles, because this is what we were trying to.
Thank you.
This is the budget they presented to us. The difference in it is the stuff that the city pays for ourselves. I do not like the hybrid accounting system.
Just on that point, I've got a copy of the management contract here. What we did work out when we discussed the contract terms on page 4 of that contract, 6.5, reporting of monthly financials, subcontractor through AP3 shall submit monthly financial statements to the city reflecting the use of the operating account funds on or before the 15th of each month. So that was made part of the contract when it was negotiated.
Has it been consistent?
It has not been.
Never received anything other than
We,
what Andrew
we
provided.
have received,
Yeah,
I think we received January, February, I'll have to go back and look exactly, but I do think we received January, February, and March at the end of March. But no, the first couple months were not consistent.
and seeing a financial on a piece of paper and knowing what the actual purpose of the expense is what we want to see. We want to see the backups of these expenses. Because it's the city's money.
Certainly agree. Do we know if the accounting, is the accounting done on site or is it done somewhere else?
I do not believe that they have any accountants employed on site. That's just an assumption more than anything based on the job descriptions that I've seen posted.
And if you look at second page, it reinforces Andrew's assumptions because there is no accountant. There's a ticket office operations manager, but there is no accountant in the budget there. So I say their accounting costs are part of some of their line items that they present on the first budget under general and administrative expense.
So we have to approve this? Is this part of our,
The agreement says you all will approve the budget, yes, and the budget is being budgeted in the city budget, what they spend plus what we spend. Because I think everything needs to run through the city's budget and audit.
So is this the total cost?
Total cost, yes. That's what we pay for, and that's what they pay for, or propose to pay for. We're paying all the utility bills, all the phone bills, all the internet bills, and we're paying some IT cost, and we are paying the utilities and insurances. We have property and general liability insurance on ourselves for the building.
I would just encourage staff to look at, potentially ways that we can work together to audit some of these funds, to make sure that they're in compliance with what they need to be, so we can actually track where, our taxpayer dollars are going.
Yes. Any questions? I know this is new to all of us.
Take a little bit to digest it.
What does the unrestricted fund balance reflect?
That's probably the transfer where we purchased it. That'll wash out at the end of this year to zero.
Okay.
And when we do move forward with the request for proposals for naming rights, that will be a line item under this account.
Yes, we didn't budget this year because
No, that's on the conference.
Paramount.
Yep.
This is the Paramount.
They're gonna do
Naming
name
rights is a
rights.
conference center?
They're gonna do naming rights at the Paramount.
Okay.
Both.
Yeah, it'll all kind of be on one thing, but we can divide it,
I got
you know.
Okay.
Since there was nothing, I budgeted conservatively until you all have something signed. It's budgeted at 0.
I can't imagine calling the Paramount anything else than the Paramount.
Well, I think it's
Well, no,
like the
no, not
rooms.
the naming rights would be like the stage or the lobby,
Concession
or
stand.
something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
And even in the naming rights of the,
Concession stand.
yeah.
the conference center, we may not want to name the, the Ashland Conference Center, we may want to keep it. But I'm talking about the lobby, the ballrooms, the individual breakout rooms, those are all potential.
I mean, I think there's a lot of potential for income on that to be used for operations
Yes.
that will offset any direct taxpayer money that would be needed.
I've run
to fund the
past a
facilities.
couple of possible participants, and they don't bat an eye on the higher ones, so we'll have to kind of,
Whatever happened to the naming rights that they already had before we took it over?
I think they were just trying to do that. They never got
They
any.
never got into it?
You're talking about PAC?
Yeah.
Pac-Man, yeah.
Yeah.
And there is some money, Andrew's been working with the different charitable foundations that put on the Festival of Trees. There is some money in here if you all chose to sponsor the Festival of Trees and get them started back up.
Yeah, I definitely want to,
Yeah, we
Yeah,
definitely.
we
he's
definitely
been-
want to do that.
Because that was one of HR's concerns, and Andrew got on the phone with the people that did that, and we are gonna meet with them. But there is funding in there for that.
Good.
All right.
Page 29 is the capital purchase improvement fund. The capital purchase improvement fund, we have other financing sources of 9.69 million. And the other financing sources do include a bond issue to fund the public services building. If you go to page 30, this is the proposed capital projects. When we are going out and seeking debt, we looked past the Public Works building to look at the needs citywide, to make sure that, being proactive, we're trying to plan out our capital and things needed. There's a lot of work that has not been done in this building for years, that if we bond money for a Public Works building, we would like to tackle, which is our HVA system. Our HVA system is outdated. It does not meet its needs. And the last time that we had it inspected, there was even mold in it. We replaced the windows in this building at $125,000. A lot of them are broken, have not been replaced in a long time. We'd like to tackle that project too.
Are all of the city building improvements in the general government 879,000?
Yes.
Good.
The new Public Works building, this was initial estimate of $7 million. We don't know what it will cost at this point, but if it's less, we will bond less. Or we won't use the bond money and give it back.
So that's just basically a placeholder.
Yes.
Yes.
We have a dump truck at $115,000. And we have for the street department, and then we have a Packard truck for the sanitation department at $280,000.
Going back to that dump truck, is that part of the team that you all,
That is for the water. That's a separate dump truck.
oh, okay.
Clerks and utilities.
I was actually flipping to the detailed thing we had in the black book this evening.
He's reading off.
This
Yeah, yeah.
is capital
Got it
for
now.
the general fund,
Yeah.
for police, fire, public services, streets.
The dump truck is an F Ford $550, and they will not only use it for repairs they do during the summer, they're actually going to put a new snow plow, because they need a new truck for snow removal also. Also, when we do the new Public Works building, we've ran out of room at the police department. We have $350,000. When the police department was built, it was built to be expandable over the back section of it, and to put a second floor on there to give them more room. I think a lot of the criminal investigations where we have a lot of equipment.
How did we come up with $350,000?
I think that was the number from the police chief.
I think the amount was put in there as a result of getting the project started. We didn't have an exact amount or anything. We were trying to get engineering to give us some documentation, but I think you all put, I think finance put the value in there. I'm not, because I didn't have any figures to
I'm sure
turn.
So we don't really know how
gotta
much it's gonna
consult
cost.
somebody.
Yeah, I would have no clue, but
What was the original cost of the police department? I'm just curious.
5.1
5.1.
million.
It was square footage. I mean, you could kind of calculate based on, somewhat on square footage.
The part that we're talking about was removed from the project.
Right, you said that.
So, I don't have the original figures on what was removed, is what we're trying to put back to what was originally designed.
Well, you know,
We might be lucky to do it at 350.
that looks like a low number to me.
Chief, what else, with that expansion, what will that give you and your department?
Well, we're running out of locker room area. We're running out of room for our digital forensic area, examination area, with more equipment that we're obtaining from resources. So, increasing the size of our investigative staff. So we're running out of room. What was originally designed for only 3 or 4 people will give us room to move those personnel to that particular area, and some the interview rooms and stuff.
Have you sketched out any schematic of it, or?
I attached it to the plan that I submitted to finance, of what it generally would look like on the footprint. It would also expand the locker room, add additional restroom facilities, and it would also maybe create some storage space that we're running out of room.
While you're standing there, you've got 3 patrol vehicles at $266,000. How many patrol vehicles do we have?
It was laying right there. I had marked cars, we have 58.
Is this to replace 3 of those?
The plan was originally, we have a plan for 10 years, to replace 2 and 3 at a time during that period of time. And this is still consistent with that period, or that plan. Unfortunately, 2 of those cars that will be replacing are totaled, involved in collisions.
I'm sorry,
Oh, it
but
is,
when you
yeah.
say 2 or 3 at a time, over how many, over 10 years?
It was 10 years of when we initiated the
I mean,
assignment.
even if you figure 3 a year, that just gets to 30. There's still 28 vehicles left.
Well, the assigned vehicle program extended the life of these vehicles, and we're trying to get 10 or 11 years out of these vehicles before we move them into another, maybe part of the city to use. We have been doing that slowly with some investigative vehicles out of our fleet. And,
Well, with the 3 that you have in here to buy, that would eliminate 3 that we have. Is that
It
a?
would probably eliminate 1, because we have two right now that are sitting up there that are not repairable from collisions.
2 of those, we probably got insurance proceeds
Yeah.
on,
That's what I.
that they're out of thing that we're replacing.
Okay.
We're in litigation on that.
when you say you're out of the locker room, so you talk about where the guys change clothes?
Yes.
Well, let me ask you, I'm confused then. The take-home fleet, when the guys come to work, they're not in uniform when they're driving the vehicles?
They're inadequate where, some come to work straight in uniform, some come to get dressed ahead of time.
Are they subject to calls as soon as you
Absolutely.
leave the house?
Soon as they call out on the radio and get in that car, they are on duty.
But not necessarily in uniform?
In uniform.
Correct. And they're not supposed to wear, extremely casual. They're supposed to be, clothed properly.
And Chief, for folks that don't know, we have a parking lot across the street over here on Greenup, and it looks like it's full of cruisers. People may think, why do we need more cruisers? Those cruisers are for folks that live beyond the take-home travel radius, am I correct? Plus, some may not have room at their home or their property for their cruisers.
That's correct. And then there are some where we're not full staff. Those vehicles are waiting to be assigned, and they're also used as backup vehicles to when some are in repair for a lengthy period.
How
of time.
close are we to being fully staffed?
We're 5 personnel shorter right now.
And how many vehicles end up being parked over here on a nightly basis?
It varies.
Just a ballpark. Average.
Because of, between the pool cars and unassigned vehicles and the officers
Let's just use the assigned vehicles. How many end up?
assigned,
Yeah,
probably around 6 or 8.
okay,
I counted 9 the other day.
yeah.
And Commissioner's right, we have personnel that don't have room at their home. Some choose not to take them home, and some go beyond the distance.
Do you have any number in your head in terms of the increase in costs of insurance to the department with the take-home vehicles?
I think the original plan, under that fleet plan, it was determined from a fleet size. I think the cost was over a certain amount of vehicles. I don't have
I was just curious.
those numbers. It wasn't per vehicle. I believe it's per so many in a fleet.
Has the take-home, has it eliminated the wear and tear on the cruisers?
We've got some vehicles that were pretty much, we thought were dead in the water. We still have them when we implemented them. The mileage completely went down and they're still being driven today. Cars that we initiated in the very initial purchase are nowhere near the mileage that we anticipated when we only had 10 or 12 cruisers in our fleet. I mean, we're getting full life factory warranty out of these now. The wear and tear on them is completely opposite of what we've dealt with in the past years ago, and pretty much we're about pretty much the same fuel consumption and tire use. Is just the vehicles are not driven 24/7, 365.
And we also we also provide vehicles for our school resource officers.
That's correct.
So are you saying we actually save money by going to home fleet?
Exactly. I'll just say the initial expense was the biggest cost. When Mr. Grab and I found the opportunity to initiate it a few years back, it was the perfect storm. Funding was available. Now it was time because the vehicles cost so much. The vehicles cost so much to be equipped. Technology goes into it. It no longer was a disposable vehicle. It was a capital investment. So you have to make these vehicles last a long time.
Well, I, for one, would like to see a little number that you can define, maybe a little better than $350,000 on the building improvement. I mean, I'd like to see you work up some numbers
Okay.
that we could rely on to some degree. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Any more questions with the police
Thank you,
department?
Chief.
Thanks.
The next is a storage facility at the drill tower. with the $2 million grants that the fire department has received in equipment, they've ran out of storage room to do these. The chief proposes to do a storage facility at the drill tower to do some trucks and drive equipment there.
Well, doing that and having the equipment, I guess is, having the equipment not at your direct disposal, is that gonna reduce, I mean, what are you gonna put over there? I mean, would that
What we were
reduce
looking at
response
putting
time?
over there, and to address how the cost was obtained, it was talking to several contractors and explaining to them what we were looking for. Pretty much assigned a cost per square footage.
What size building?
About 125 by 50 or 60 in size, which would produce about 6 bay spaces. And also the ability to build rough storage racks around the exterior walls. We were looking at putting only 2 bay doors on it to have an area where you could drive through the building over the road and have areas where the 6 bays would be. The things that we're looking at storing there, we have, of course, our hazmat trailer, our collapse rescue trailer that we just recently got with the grant. We have more than likely looking at putting our boats over there. Our dive trailer would go over there to free up a lot more space at Central Station.
This would be the equipment that would be used on a less frequent basis.
That is correct, sir.
That is taking up space in your stations.
That is correct.
And that's probably closer to the river for the boats, I mean.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Due to the fact of what is stored in some of the trailers, we would have to provide a means of controlling the environment inside the building. But as far as putting a restroom in it or water facilities, I don't think that we would need that with the drill tower next door.
Is there
'cause it
water
has
in the
water.
drill tower?
Yes,
And
yes.
there's a restroom in the drill
Yes,
tower?
yes, there's 2 of them. There's a classroom in there. We use that space quite often.
Chief, would this also provide additional room for potential training if need be?
Yes, within Central Station, definitely. And it would also place all of our equipment in one area that could be accessed, such as for maintenance. At different times of the month, we have to do inventory on that equipment. We kind of put it in one location to be done because we've got some stuff kind of spread out that we would consolidate together.
Okay.
It would have electricity in the building.
Yes, yes, we would have to have electricity along with
Light.
probably some kind of heating and cooling system to control the environment. We figured also with the 100-foot, the way we had it configured on the plot, where we could take our aerial truck and pull it through the building in case we needed to have shelter for dealing with any maintenance issues on that, or extending the aerial ladder out to do maintenance on it underneath a roof. So.
And the last part of this budget
Thanks, Chief.
is the payment on one of the aerial platform trucks.
What, how much capital expense was there last year in the general fund? Just ballpark, if you remember. I mean, is this a representative number in
No,
terms of?
it is,
It's a little high.
it's high because of all the
Public
capital
Works.
that we're doing with the Public Works building and the 2 other buildings and the maintenance that we're doing on this building. Last year was 1.2 million.
Oh, wow.
But,
Just a little bit more.
and that includes payment on a fire truck.
I got you.
We talked about doing these items in capital planning, we are trying to plan, and like the fire trucks, we've made payments on them in 3 years or set aside the money in fund balance. So that we don't have, we've done those 3 fire trucks without assuming any debt.
Chief, when are we expecting the arrival of a new aerial truck?
New aerial truck was originally slated to be delivered in August of this year. It looks like now it's gonna be on towards October timeframe. They've not ran into any snags, but production is slowed in some areas, and they always get down to this point and have to adjust that date. plus or minus 60 to 90 days. So,
Is the Setford Corporation still on strike?
I believe technically yes, but I was also informed that most of the workers have come back to work employment. So,
Do we have a plan for the existing aerial once we receive the new one? Will we put it in reserve?
it is going to be in reserve and it will be housed at Station 2. They have a base space. We'll have to move a reserve truck out of there, but we plan on keeping it for as long as we can until it becomes a mechanical burden to have in reserve. Because as you know, we've ran into several cases over the last 2 or 3 years where we've had that piece of equipment down. We had to borrow a piece of equipment from a neighboring department that was gracious enough to give us that.
That's great.
Is there any areas over the budget you would like us to touch on? or-
We're capital intensive on this and,
Yes.
and need to be. And when you look at investments of any company or anything, you also have to have investments in your people. And we have not done that. To much degree. I mean, we take care of them a lot of different ways. Shouldn't say that. But,
Well, are there areas that, and I had this conversation with Ms. Veach earlier, are there areas that we may be able to shave a little bit in order to look at potentially offering something to our employees? I know they haven't had a cost of living adjustment, not so much a raise, but a cost of living adjustment or CPI within the last couple of years or year or so. Is there areas that we might be able to shave a little bit off to look at maybe doing something like that?
There are still areas that I think that we can combine jobs and what things people do in personnel. My staff is certainly doing it, and they've done it every day for 2 years. But finance stood up and were a leadership with that. There's other departments that have also done the same.
I don't want to do that. No more.
No, we don't want to do, when you say we don't want to do that, make you people do more duties. No one's losing their job. That's not what we're saying. We're asking people to do more duties than they are currently doing.
I think that one suggestion I had was, we're pretty heavy on paving near close to $1.9 million. Would we be able to maybe shave there and then shave somewhere else and, just shave a few areas?
If you shave paving, you'll have to do it in future years. The only gift that keeps on giving is shaving personnel. If you shave paving, you're going to have to make that paving in future years. But we're not talking about cutting anybody's job. We're talking about people having to do more work.
We've got options. That's so an option. Paving.
You're going to have
You
some
could reduce
savings.
the amount of the stabilization fund. It's just how you want to slice up the pie, the composition of it.
tough.
Give you a little bit of a reference point. I think a 1% COLA in salary and benefits citywide's about 378. Is that
Yes.
that's about 378?
And you have a possibility of 120,000 in contribution dues, because those were significantly double. And Visit AK has never asked for anything, so that's 120. And then AIM has asked for 35 additional. So if you give them additional to do downtown activities, even say you give them 70, there's $120,000 savings there.
I don't want to do
Options
away
could
with
be,
either one of them.
What is it?
I wouldn't mind seeing you knock off $250,000 in paving, or $50,000 from the sidewalks.
I think the
And give each employee $750.
The CPI for the previous, or ending December, don't quote me, I think it's 2.9.
That's what it was, yeah.
I would like to give employees that.
You know,
That's
we,
just keeping the purchasing power of the employees the same.
yeah, I know we've asked a lot of our staff, over the last, since we've been in office, 16 months now, we've looked at ways to save money, we've combined jobs. I don't think that I think we can probably still look at some of that, in certain areas that have been vacant for a long time. But I think we also need to look at, everything's gone up, inflation's been significant. Gas is near $4 a gallon, and, when our folks are doing more, I think we need to consider that, their cost of living. And I say that, but we also do have a lot of folks here that make a whole lot of money. And I think that needs to be addressed eventually through attrition as well. So I think there's a lot of areas and avenues that we need to look at our pay and our compensation.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. 2 years ago, the mayor and I were sitting out there at the time, and I think I can quote you. You said, you were talking about the budget then, you said you were upside down $3 million. I haven't heard you say that this time, so that, I'm proud of you.
That was our goal.
And when you said that, I didn't see anybody bat an eye, but I was like, oh, God.
Well, and then one more thing, I know we talked about that economic development line item. Is that something that I've missed in this budget, or is that something we're gonna create?
We've actually got money budgeted in both major funds.
Okay.
It's what, 2.5 years that we projected we would be at 25% of operating?
Yeah.
If you look at page 6, the general fund
I'm talking
is-
about for economic development itself.
Oh, that was, I'm not sure how that came up. It was mentioned, but I don't know what year it was. But we did legally restrict a portion of the fund balance at that time of $2 million. We did not set aside $2 million cash into a separate checking account
Right,
or
right.
savings account.
That's what I
But we
understood it
did-
was.
We did restrict a portion of the fund balance.
That's what I voted on.
Can we create,
The ordinance is just a
A fund.
restriction fund balance.
I thought it was cash.
No, and we didn't have the cash, nor we were ever instructed to put the cash in it.
would the board support creating a fund for economic development?
Well, where are you gonna get the money?
Well, I mean, that's.
Well, you all
that's
actually
If we
have
need the
an,
money, we'll come up with it. If there's something that they're,
you all have an ordinance now, and it's not money that has to come out of our pocket. It's, for
It's set
example,
aside.
if I come in and I bring $100,000 of payroll tax within jobs, you all have an ordinance where you could actually refund 50,000 of that or whatever you choose back to the company. And it's not money out of our cash account with us. It's just reduced our revenue we get. You all have economic development tools in hand that does not require us setting aside cash in an account, nor giving out cash. We did that with AK Steel for years. If they agreed to keep 500 jobs in Ashland, we gave them back 1.375% of their payroll tax to the company, and the company used that to build equipment to keep these jobs in Ashland. That was money we did not get in our coffers, but it's not money that we had to
See
save
where
us
that
out
got
to
us.
our coffers.
So, almost like an abatement?
Yes.
Yes.
thrown away.
I personally like the idea of having a micro enterprise loan, or emergency loan fund for companies or some of them might want to start up or will start up. I'm not talking about large amounts, but I think that would be a tool in our tool belt, so to speak.
And the perfect time to do it is we have about $250,000 of ARPA interest that has not been used, and we can cut down some items there. We could set that aside in economic development loan, revolving loan fund where they actually pay it back. Then you would have constant help to your businesses.
Food for
for
thought.
thought.
And a full disclosure, it's not something new. We've had in the past, and we've not been very good bankers, just to be frank. I mean, in terms of payback and that kind of stuff, but.
So, we probably need to bring this, Commissioner Martin has another obligation, so we need to decide how we want to extend this or complete this.
You know, what I would suggest, we've got a 2-week break before we meet again. We've got 2 months before we have to finally adopt the ordinance. I've got a lot of stuff to digest that we've gone over.
Yeah.
I just assume wait a little bit before, but if somebody wants to keep it going now, I'm not.
Keep in
In
mind,
opposition.
Possible, I'd like some direct, especially on the COLAs, if we're talking about that, so we can go in and look at it and try to.
it changes every number in the budget. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
well, we can go and meet with you guys, and if you got questions, give them a call, and we're getting close.
Oh, yeah, I'm not.
I see what
When
you're
do you wanna
saying,
meet?
Tony.
When would
Yeah.
you
The
wanna?
sooner you know, the
Well, if I
better.
get an idea, so I can try to make it work for you guys, is what I'm
Okay.
saying.
I have auditors coming June, so I hope we have it done before June.
Well, we've got 6 weeks,
Yep.
or 5 weeks before the auditors come,
The next regular meeting is May 14th.
Yeah, that's,
which is a good bit off.
yeah.
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 Wow.
I want to commend finance and city manager on the work you've done.
Done an excellent job.
I think you've
Thank you, I
done
appreciate that.
an outstanding job.
I'm sure
and
finance staff does.
Done a nice presentation, department heads, everybody's contributed very well to the effort.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well done. All right, with that, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.